Hello, welcome to the Elone Show. I'm your host, John Elone. In this episode, no regulars, because reasons, as always. As for our guest, she's from Eagan, Minnesota. She is an event manager for X Golf Minnesota, and she has written her first book. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Candy Wolf.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So, how's life?
Crazy. Good, but crazy.
Fair enough, I'd say the same. Is there anything you're currently working on or up to recently?
Yeah. So between book and working full time, my youngest son actually is getting ready to graduate from high school and head off to college. So I am trying to get that taken care of, and my book is actually just getting ready to hit the print here next week. So it will be ready to be shipped out. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Nice, very good. So, what inspired you to take the path that you're on right now?
Oh, wow. So about it's been almost 16 months ago, I lost my husband when we went to Cabo San Lucas for my 50th birthday to celebrate it. And I had woke up and he had passed in the middle of the night. And it was a long 4 days of being, in another country, losing your spouse and trying to deal with everything. And when I came back, everybody wanted to hear the story. So, it was told over and over and over. And finally, about, I don't know, 3 months after he had passed, every time I talked to someone, they kept saying, wow, you have quite the story to tell. You should write a book. And I thought, well, my goodness, I've never wrote a book in my life. And so what should I do? And, talked with some different dear friends of mine that, have written books before and kind of gave me a little advice and thought, all right, well, I believe God's putting me on this path. So I am going to write a book. And it has taken me a year to get it written and, edited and all of that fun stuff. And finally to the point where it's coming to fruition and I can see light at the end of the tunnel.
Nice. That's great to hear.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any jobs or opportunities you haven't done yet that you would like to try someday?
I did my first keynote speaking engagement, gosh, about a week and a half ago, and that is something that I enjoyed doing. And my whole book, like when I wrote it, it was to help people, not to have your head buried in the sand, because we obviously don't know what we don't know until we are faced with a tragedy of something like mine. And I just feel like I have a story to tell and people to help. So that is something that I never really thought when I first started writing the book of something that I would love to do, but I really enjoyed talking about, where I was and who I've become through this whole process and what I've learned. So that is something that I would really enjoy doing moving forward is to start speaking, either for small groups or large groups and anyway, from inspiration to figuring out your finances and making sure you know where you're at before you lose a loved one and with my faith and how that helped me and being prepared, to having those hard conversations that nobody wants to talk about, but making sure that they are taking place before it's too late.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not fun, but we need to talk.
Yes, it's important to have these discussions so it gives knowledge and experience to those who may not have it yet, but at some point will happen.
Yeah, exactly. And you never know when it's going to happen. I was 50 years old, and who would have thought that I would become a widow and single mom, to three boys and one left at home and trying to figure out life and grief and you have everything coming at you all at once. And if you can have those hard conversations and have stuff in line, at least when you do grieve, you can actually just grieve and not have to worry about everything else that is coming at you.
Yes, of course. If someone wrote a book about you, what do you think its title would be?
um, oh my goodness, that's a good question. I would think it would be something along the lines of, you can't, knock her down. She gets up and keeps going, every day. You put her down and she's up. She can go to bed, but she gets up the next morning, and something to do with, getting up, moving forward, and finding passion and living in the moment. So, I am not exactly sure what the whole title would be, because I would have a really long one, I'm sure, and it wouldn't sell then.
Fair enough, fair enough. It happens, but we'll get there eventually.
Yep.
Yes. Do you have any pets?
I do. I have a beagle. She is almost 10 years old, and she is a spoiled, rotten, queen of the house.
Ah, interesting.
Yes, she was actually my husband's dog. So in the last 16 months, she has now become my little shadow, I guess. Wherever I go, she is right behind me nowadays, because it was used to be my husband. And now that he's no longer around, she's become mine.
Yeah, absolutely. What should they teach in high school, but they don't?
Oh my goodness. This just, from what I've learned, is the whole, like, finances, figuring out that money does not grow on trees. And you need to keep track of, your spending, where your money's going, what's coming in, and the responsibility of taking control of yourself, and like what you owe, and making sure, if you want to spend money, that you have the money to spend, and not it's not just on credit cards. It's you actually have the money. I just see, like, all three of my boys. It was stuff that, as parents, we had to teach them. But I think my son, going through what we've went through the last, 16 months, it's been an eye opener for him to really see that, you need to be in control of your finances, and you can't, just go out on a limb and think that everything's taken care of, but you actually need to know where every cent is going, what's coming in, what's your investments, and making wise decisions for investments.
Yes, absolutely. Who was the last person you've talked to?
Oh my gosh, it was just my son, who's actually at home. We just had a conversation on, he's got graduation coming up on June 1st and a grad party on the 15th. So right before I was talking with you, we were sitting down, kind of going over graduation day and graduation party, and what he wants, and how I can make it special for him.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. If your mind was an island, what would it look like?
Oh my gosh, I love islands. I love the Caribbean. So my island would be very well, my brain is chaotic, but my island brain would be, just like in the middle of the Caribbean, with a couple palm trees, a hammock, a little, maybe, casita, with a bedroom and a little kitchen, and just white beaches and sunshine and peacefulness of just being able to lay in that hammock and listen to the waves, and just take some deep breaths in and relax.
Sweet. I do the same.
I would love to live on a little island. That would be wonderful.
Me too. Where was the furthest you traveled to from where you are originally from?
Oh my goodness. The farthest I have traveled is probably to St. Martin, and I'm in Eagan, Minnesota, and I want to say it was a. I have no many. I don't have an idea of how many miles, but I know it was like a 8 hour plane ride straight through, like no stopping. So, but it was absolutely worth it. It was beautiful, and I would go back there again in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Which St. Martin are you talking?
The we I was on the Dutch side, but we did
Ah,
visit the French side as well, but we stayed on the Dutch side, but such a cool island. What's 13 miles long or something like that, and you can have both nationalities, and it's just very unique and, just beautiful.
yeah, absolutely. Have you heard of a drink called banana friche?
I have not.
That's what a lot of people tell me.
What is it?
So it's a banana flavored milkshake slash smoothie that has all the tingling sensations in the world.
Oh, it sounds wonderful.
Oh yes.
Do you make it?
I don't know. I just this it's just an idea that just popped to my head at some point in my life, and yeah, that sounds interesting.
You should make it and patent it. I'm sure you could do well.
Yes, indeed. How much time do you spend on the internet?
Oh my gosh, a lot. My days start usually around 6 a.m., get a good workout in, but from there, between my full-time job and my book and trying to start speaking and, just social media stuff, oh Lord, wow, probably at least 6 to 7 hours a day, like surfing the internet, finding, um, looking up different companies, or searching for people that I am like booking events for, or like if it has to do with my book and speaking, finding different associations that are looking for speakers. And then as well, like with social media, trying to get posts out there. And then as well, of course, I go down the TikTok trap. Like you start watching videos and then it leads from one to the next. And then before you know it, you're 3 hours in laughing your butt off because there are some very funny people out there.
Yes, there sure are. If you were to host a dinner party, you could invite 5 guests who either are dead or alive. Who would you invite?
Oh my gosh. One, my favorite, I would invite Kenny Chesney because I absolutely adore him. He's amazing. Gosh, they'd probably all be artists. And then, oh Lord, like probably Keith Urban and um, oh my gosh, like Blake Shelton, Zach Brown Band. I love country music, and I just think that the stories and how they write and come up with things is fascinating to me. It's like how they can sit down, and I know like Kenny Chesney's talked about like his song Beer in Mexico when he was in Kabul sitting at Sammy Hager's house. He like wrote it in 10 minutes. And it's to me, it's just fascinating to how their brains work, that they're so talented at what they do. Just to hear them talk about how they get their inspiration and how they can write a song in 10 minutes and it becomes a number one hit. It's to me that would be absolutely fascinating to talk to them about.
Yes, absolutely. That's quite the variety.
Yes.
Nice. What was the largest thing you have ever witnessed?
Oh my gosh. Like, what are you looking for with the largest thing? Like something that happened to me or that I've seen or like what
Something you've seen, like the largest object,
largest
largest
object?
amount of people, something like that.
Oh my gosh, I was just in Vegas, maybe like a month and a half ago, and the Sphere in Vegas. Have you heard about that or seen it at all? It's amazing. It's insane. It is the largest globe sphere thing that you can actually go in and um, do tours inside. And I have no idea how big this thing is, but on the outside, it does light shows and it changes constantly. And it is one of the coolest spectacles I have ever come across yet to today in my life. It's when you're standing there, like looking up at it, it's gosh, the people told us like how big and round it is, but it is a work of art that I have no idea how they built. My brain doesn't think that way, but it is very cool.
Nice. Have you ever met anyone famous?
I have. I was lucky enough to go to a presidential inauguration, and I was walking down the street in DC, and um, Dr. Ben Carson actually was walking just by himself down the street, and I stopped and introduced myself to him, and he was the most kind, gentle man there was, and we were like he just spent some time talking with me, and my husband was with me. It was pretty, very cool, just very, organic, I guess, nothing like you wouldn't expect a meeting in the middle of a street with somebody that is famous like that. So that was a very unique experience.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
On an island in the Caribbean somewhere where I have my space and I can get all of my food and my groceries and be able to get off the island and back onto the island, but just somewhere peaceful, and I wouldn't have to worry about like hurricanes or tsunamis or anything like that. But I love the sun, I love the ocean, and I love um just the peace of like the Caribbean and the blue water and the smell of the salty air, and it just does something for me. It's brings me to a whole new level of relaxation and um, just peace and harmony and joy.
Mm, yes. Would you rather speak all languages or talk to animals?
I think I'd love to speak all languages. That's um, the one thing because I love to travel, and not being able to communicate is very it's frustrating and hard. So especially with like when I was down in Mexico, as much as we went to Mexico, I should know Spanish, but when I lost my husband, that was like a big barrier between me and talking with like locals. So if I could learn every single language and speak, even partial fluency, I that's what I would choose.
Okay, okay, cool, cool. Do you know a guy named Joe?
I do know a guy named Joe.
Okay, what about Joe Mama?
Joe Mama?
Yeah,
Nope, who's Joe Mama?
I don't know. It's just I don't usually say this, but it's just it happens. Like, it pops in my head every now and then. You
Joe
know, like
Mama.
banana friche.
Yeah. Oh, isn't there a joke about that, Joe Mama?
Yes. Joe Mama sounds like yo mama or your mama.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yes.
That was the joke.
Yes, I've heard people say Joe Mama.
Yeah. It was quite something. Is it better to use shampoo as soap or soap as shampoo?
Oh my gosh. Um, I would say I don't know what people would say, but I would say using shampoo as soap.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
I think
It's
so.
it makes sense, I guess. What would you do if you won the lottery?
Oh my gosh. I would be buying my Caribbean island somewhere. I guess it depends on how much I won of the lottery, but I would be getting out of Minnesota because I hate winters here. They're horrible. So, yes, I would be moving to the Caribbean somewhere, enjoying the rest of my life.
Yes, sounds good. If your life was a meal, what kind of meal would it be?
Did you say meal?
Meal, yes.
It's like, oh my gosh. I would have to say probably a pizza because you can get it and you can do so much to it, you know? My life is so, crazy some days and sometimes it's like a big supreme combination, you know, you have a little bit of everything thrown on there. Other days, it's kind of simple where you could just have cheese and pepperoni. Some days are, very unique, so, like, you could do like a chicken and artichoke, you know, something different. So I think pizza, just because my life changes pretty much sometimes at the moment with so many plates being juggled. And so with a pizza, you can do anything to it and it still tastes good.
Yeah, absolutely. If you were to open a business, what kind of business would that be?
Well, I could say, I guess what I'm doing right now is, you know, I wrote my book and I'm going to try to start, doing some more speaking just because I love to help people and I want to be able to give my experience, what I've learned to other people, and hopefully, if it resonates with them, that they would use it. If not, maybe they know somebody else that would be able to use what I've learned and just be somebody that people can look to and say, "Wow, you know, if look at like where she's come from and what she's been through and where she is now and she's taken this horrible thing and has turned it into something positive and to be a light for the world and to show people, you know what, that there is a lot of bad out in the world, but we don't have to be like that, and we can be forgiving and we can be positive and we can want to help each other without having alternative motives behind it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What is the one thing you can't live without?
My caffeine. I am on the go constantly. So whether it is a coffee, you know, from Starbucks or a Diet Pepsi, I don't think I could get through my day without my caffeine.
Okay, okay, fair enough. What is the best way to start the morning?
Working out, just doing it, getting yourself into a habit. You know, your alarm goes off, don't hit snooze, get up and go do something for yourself. A good workout, yoga, meditation, whatever it is, to set your mind in a good spot. So whatever your day throws at you, you're able to handle it, because you've accomplished something already for yourself, and it's good for you, and mentally, physically, it keeps you alert and your energy up and going for the day.
Great. What kind of music do you often listen to?
Well, mostly like country music, but honestly, I was out staining my deck the other day and had my playlist going on, and I realized how many different genres I listen to. It's, like I said, I love country, but what I love 80s hair bands. I love the 90s hip hop. I love the newest like Christian rock music. Um, to listen to, some.
Yes. If you could travel back in time, what decade would you want to live in? I'm not sure if you noticed. I can't hear you now. If you can hear me, great, but I can't hear you, so. Oh man. I said you would be back, but. Oh dear. Hopefully you'll be back soon. Any time now. I still can't hear you. Like, what's going on with the connection?
Spoiler alert, she did not come back. The connection was absolutely abysmal. I just don't know why. Don't know how, don't know why, it's just. Ugh. However, the case, it was great having Candy on, talking about her first book, being an event manager, and of course, her life story. And a lot of it. What a woman. I'll give her credit for that. With all that being said, until next time, stay tuned for more.